If you have been looking at Aipas C1 Electric and still are not fully sure whether it is the right buy for your needs, that is exactly what this review is here to clear up before you spend your money. A lot of products can sound great on the listing and still end up feeling underwhelming once they are actually in your hands, so the real question is whether this one gives you solid everyday value, fits the way you plan to use it, and feels worth the price. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Hey everyone, I'm really glad you're here because I know how frustrating it can be when you finally get your hands on something that looked great online, only to realize it doesn't quite live up to the hype. I've been there with electric bikes, especially commuter models. You want something that's going to get you to work without sweating, handle the occasional pothole, and not leave you stranded halfway through the day. That's exactly why I wanted to test out the Aipas C1. It's an 1100W peak motorbike with a 62-mile range, and honestly, it caught my eye because so many budget e-bikes promise big numbers but fall short when you actually ride them. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Now, I know what you might be thinking. 1100W sounds powerful, but is it really worth it for a daily commuter? That's the question I asked myself too. So I took this bike on a mix of city streets, bike paths, and even some rougher terrain just to see how it holds up. The first thing that stood out was the motor. It's got this smooth acceleration that kicks in without jerking you forward, which is a huge plus when you're navigating traffic or starting from a red light. The 7-speed gear system lets you adjust your effort depending on whether you're cruising or climbing a hill, and honestly, it made a noticeable difference on my usual route that has a few inclines. I didn't feel like I was fighting the bike to keep up. I just picked the gear that felt right and let the motor do the rest. The battery is removable, which is a game changer if you live in an apartment or don't have easy access to a charging outlet at work. I charged it overnight and got just over 50 miles of mixed riding before needing a top-up, which is pretty close to the advertised 62 miles. That's more than enough for most commuters, especially if you're not pushing it to the max every day. And because it's removable, you can bring the battery inside to charge, which is a nice security feature too. I also liked that the bike has an adjustable suspension fork. On rough patches of road, it definitely absorbed some of the bumps that would have rattled my wrists otherwise. It's not a full suspension bike, but for the price and the type of riding it's designed for, it's more than adequate. Assembly was straightforward, though I'll admit I'm not the most mechanically inclined person. The instructions were clear, and the tools you need are included. It took me about 45 minutes to get it fully put together, which is pretty standard for an e-bike. The customer support from Aipas was responsive when I had a couple of questions about the display settings, so that's a good sign if you're someone who likes to have backup when setting up a new bike. One thing I really appreciated was how stable this bike felt at higher speeds. A lot of commuter e-bikes can feel a bit wobbly once you hit 20 miles per hour or so, but the Aipas C1 has a sturdy frame and wider tires that give you confidence. I took it up to 25 miles per hour on a straight path, and it tracked really well. The brakes are hydraulic disc brakes, which I was skeptical about at first, but they stopped me quickly and smoothly, even when I was going downhill. That's not something you want to compromise on, especially if you're riding in an urban area with unpredictable traffic. At the end of the day, the Aipas C1 delivers on what it promises. It's got the power to make your commute enjoyable, the range to get you through the day, and the build quality to last. It's not the flashiest bike out there, but it doesn't need to be. It just needs to get the job done, and it does that really well. If you're on the fence, I'd say go for it. Just maybe budget for a slightly nicer seat if you plan on longer rides. The link is below if you want to check it out.